Hello, my name's Terry Chimes, and this is my podcast, RockandRoll Confessions. Today we have another rock drummer for you, and I've known him for 50 years. Please welcome Rat Scabies from The Damned. So, Rat, here we are again. I don't like films these days. I think they've lost the ability to make a good film now.
Yeah. I can't remember the last one I saw that I thought I'd recommend this to anybody.
The last good film I saw, it must be 4 years ago, Darkest Hour, the Churchill film.
Oh, right, no, I never.
Well, they got Gary Oldman as Churchill. Now, he looks nothing like Churchill, does he? But they made him look like Churchill, so the makeup's good.
Yeah, I've seen bits of it. I'm a big Gary Oldman fan. Anyway.
Yeah, he does a great job.
Yeah.
Really good film. But that's like years ago, and there's one film out of all those thousands.
The advertisers were always blamed for a lack of quality because if you did certain things that made certain statements or were edgy, you'd lose advertisers. So it became, again, the money has sort of started dictating the artistic content. As in now, it's such a formulated thing on the story. You kind of know everything that's going to happen before it does.
Well, so much money, I suppose you can't risk losing it all.
This money thing's overrated. I think cash is the wrong way to go.
Think so?
Yeah, I think we're better off with sticks with notches carved in them and swapping stones. Because, if you want a pair of shoes, you don't choose what shoes you want. You choose what's on offer.
Yeah.
And the manufacturers have already decided what's going to be on offer because they know what sells best. So, innovation, artistic creativity, it all goes out of the window. It's a tragic loss.
Although podcasting is going bananas, it's going right up, and that's because you can do what you like.
Yeah.
You don't have to appease somebody.
I find a lot of podcasts very boring. Because it's like eavesdropping on a conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, it depends on who it is.
It's like somebody sitting next to you on the bus.
Yeah, mostly eavesdropping on a bus, you don't get much interested.
And again, it's money. I mean, it's cheap to do.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of listeners out there if you hit the right topics.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like it because they drive a long way and they get kind of zoned out with the music and they're just in a conversation to keep them
Radio 4.
awake. Yeah, Radio 4.
Radio 4 Extra. I'm a huge fan of the spoken word.
Well, I used to make fun of a friend of mine I used to work with for Radio 4. It's an old man station. And then one day I had to move his car for him for some reason. I forget why. So I got in his car and I was there for half an hour. I came back and said, "What have you been doing?" He says, "I'm listening to Radio 4.
Yeah.
Because there was a little girl of 7, I think she was, or even 5 maybe, who was dying from cancer. And she was talking about how she feels about life and what it means and all that. And he's like, really? He thought, God, she's so young and she's got really insightful things to say about it. So I just couldn't escape the car. So that was funny. So I was made a hypocrite that day.
But, I mean, I still love the dramas they put on. And something like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Absolutely groundbreaking and brilliant.
When that was on telly, the bloke with 2 heads, you'd look at it and think, right, that's the real head and that's the fake one. And as you said that, the fake one would go like that. And you think, hang on a minute, that's the real one. So I reckon they kept filming and splicing it with
different
the real
sides.
head shopping to keep you guessing.
Yeah, maybe. But I think, the intelligence behind it is really what did it rather than, the content of the scripts and the development of the stories, because that's something I'm really interested in anyway. I mean, someone like Douglas Adams, it's faultless, it kind of good writing. I mean,
But can writers of that caliber break through now? Are they too weird? Do you remember John Wyndham, science fiction writer? He wrote some fabulous stuff.
He wrote The Midwich Cuckoos.
Yeah, and Day of the Triffids and all sorts.
And that's who The Damned were named after.
Oh, yes, The Village of the Damned, yeah. Children of the Damned.
Children of the Damned.
Yeah,
we wanted to be those children that were in the band.
Well, you've got the blonde hair at least, anyway.
Well, I didn't have then, but...
But no one knows him now. No one. I've talked to English teachers. I say, "Do you know John Wyndham?" They go, "No, who's he? Never heard of him." These are 40-year-old people who've never heard of John Wyndham. I think, how can this be? A man was so famous then, he disappeared.
And such a great writer.
It's almost like he's been cancelled or something.
Isn't it?
I don't know why. So if someone like him came along and wrote really different stuff, would he actually be picked up
Would he
by a
get a
publisher?
job?
Yeah.
Wow. It's, I know some writers and things, and it's just, it's quite difficult, I think, for them. Even good writers, because you kind of have to give the producers what they want.
Yeah, yeah.
And they haven't got a clue.
No. And you watch the movie and you think, I've seen this movie 100 times before.
Yeah.
But you just keep seeing the same stuff.
But it's a bit like a shark eating its own intestines. It has to consume. It doesn't know what to consume.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's going to give you what it's already had.
So tell me, what's all this about the Holy Grail and the Spear of Destiny, all that stuff? What's your interest in all that?
Well, not so much the Spear of Destiny, because that's...
They're often linked, aren't they, the two?
Yeah, they are. And Longinus, who accepted Christ, which I believe, I have seen it. It was in Austria, in the museum there. And I had a friend of mine, actually, Dr. Robert Feather, who examined it and looked at it very closely. There's only one part of it that is the right date.
Like carbon dated.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he carbon dated it, but there's a Roman nail, like a cross-shaped nail in the handles. But really, it was down to my parents, because they were always alternative thinkers when it came to religion, and a bit sort of 14, that 1% of, well, okay, everything you're telling us may be true, but how about this? How about, what do you say to someone who says they've seen a ghost? What do you say to Spring Jack and footsteps that go over a snow-covered roof? It's kind of, what about those cases? What about those things? What does that actually mean? And is it just something you can explain away, or is it a real thing that we don't have a name for?
Well, do you think that's why you ended up as an artist as such, as opposed to an accountant or some other?
No, I was going to be a drummer. That was it. Well, it was. Well, I worked out that I could chase the dream until I was about 30, because I was pretty unqualified. And as you were saying earlier, in those days, they'd have a sign on a shop window, staff wanted.
Yeah.
And you just go in, and if they liked the look of you, you'd get the job.
Yeah.
And it was that easy. So I figured, well, I can chase this until I'm about 30, and then I'm going to have to do something that's going to set me up as an adult. It's funny, because it wasn't just right place at the right time, even though it was. But I think it was always about our generation had a certain attitude that we developed because of what had gone on before.
Yeah. Well, people often say, will it happen again, punk rock? They were not in the same way, I don't think, because these things just happen at certain times, don't they?
Well, that was the thing, wasn't it? Because I remember the Saints, and I was like, how did they hear about punk? How did they hear what's going on?
Some desert in Australia or something.
They're in the middle of bloody nowhere, and they're making this great, it was, and that's when I kind of came around to thinking, and the same in like Manchester and the Buzzcocks, and they weren't anywhere near London, so how did they know about the London scene?
Well, you could get in a car and drive down. Well, if you're in the middle of nowhere in Australia.
Yeah, but when they're talking about, the Saints are the best example, but also there's anywhere with distance. I kind of realised that it was actually an attitude that was in our generation that was waiting to get out, rather than it being something that you just joined in with.
They say when someone discovers something new, like Darwin came up with evolution, there's usually a couple of other people in other continents that have come up with the same idea at the same time, and he only got ahead of them by 10 minutes and got that on the table, and no one knows who they are.
I believe
it happens a lot, yeah.
But
I had a girl that worked for me for a while, and she was a therapist, and she was from Australia, and she was right in the middle of nowhere, so the nearest pub was like 2 hours drive. So when she came to London, she was out every night, nightclubbing all night and everything. She just wanted to like lap it up.
You can see why, but then when they wake up with a hangover, people like that often wish they were at home.
Yeah, I took a lot of hangovers I think before she thought, yeah, that's enough of that.
But you do, don't you? No matter how, boring it is. I get like it on the road. Like, I really wish I was back in Brentford, and just because it's familiar and it's people, and places and things, and all of that. There's something that you kind of leave behind when you go on tour, and it's only the sort of constant travelling that I think pushes that
Yeah, I remember that thing. You go all over the world, all kinds of crazy things happen. You come back to the pub that you were in 6 months ago, and the same guy's sitting there drinking the same drink, saying the same things. You think, blimey, you haven't moved an inch. We've done all this stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's funny.
yeah, it's weird. I make a point of, like the other day, fly back from Budapest. I get off the plane and then get on the tube and then get on the bus, and it's a great leveler.
Oh, yeah.
This sort of not quite gradual return to normality, but the return to normality.
Because Brentford are in the Premiership now, I keep hearing the name. So I live near Brentwood because I'm the other side of London from you. So I keep saying Brentford when I mean Brentwood because you keep hearing about the football. You just mix them
People
up.
do the same thing the other way around. I'll say Brentford, they say, well, Brentwood. It used to be where Gibson was, wasn't it? They used to have a big factory there, I think.
In Brentwood?
I think so, yeah.
Oh. But I was in Nashville and there's a Gibson headquarters there. So my friend who's a guitar player dragged me down there and we're looking around the place. I thought, well, it's just guitar, so I don't really care. But and then, of course, he starts telling them who I am and he says, oh, no, you must come into the VIP room. Then we've got this little tiny room. And then within this room, you have a coffee in there. And then they said they've got this safe. It's about the size of this room, quite small. Massive, thick door. Might be for show, I don't know. Massive, thick. Undoes that, comes in. And there's all these guitars in there. Probably like 15 guitars. And they're all worth millions because it's like Carlos Santana's guitar used on the first album, Jimmy Page's guitar on the first, all that all around the room. And I'm thinking, blimey. And it's all weird. And it's kind of crazy because it's the same guitars you could buy somewhere else for peanuts, but it's that guitar that was done. And people really have a lot of thing about this, don't they? Obsess on that was the one, so I've got to have that one.
Well, Brian James just sold for...
Yeah, 70,000 pounds, yeah. Well, I felt good with that because he left a family behind, so that's something for.
Well, it's taking care of the family.
Yeah,
which he would have been pleased about, that's for sure.
Well, there's a lot of bags of crisps, isn't it? £70,000.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, that's nice.
This thing of that's the one. It affected me with Brian. There was a part of me that wanted to put a few quid on it, just because.
Yeah, if money.
But then again, I was there when it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I thought, well, there's a reason he stopped using it. I know the bridge was always dodgy on it, and he had bits of cigarette packet holding the strings.
They won't care, will they, about that?
No, I'm like, maybe the neck was probably a bit warped, and it was a bit, but it's this strange obsession that people have of hanging on to the past.
Yeah,
and the really icons of the past. Because I'm there going, I've got this stuff at home. Look, what am I going to do with it? My kids don't want it. It's not really worth much. It's all got a bit of sentimental meaning, but why do I want to keep it?
I've always chucked everything out, really. So I haven't got anything. That's just my way.
Well, I got really broke and had loads of bits and pieces, and realised it was just sitting in a box under the bed, and really I needed the money, and there are damn fans out there that would give their eye teeth to have that bit of paper or that set list or that thing. And really, it was serving both of us if I sold it.
Everyone's happy. Yeah.
Yeah. And what was I going to wait for him to open the Rat Scabies museum?
Yeah, in Brentford.
Yeah, really. Plans are underway too. It's just.
So what of the future then? You're just going to keep going, you think?
Yeah, for a while. I'm doing a gig with another project I've got called the Sinclairs. I'm doing a gig with them on Friday.
What?
At the Lexington.
Got a good sound system, I've heard.
Yeah, it's a nice gig and nice lights and proper stage and things.
So who's in that?
It's two of us really.
Oh, okay. Cut the.
But we have to get others. So we've got Billy Shinbone is the name he's using on this, who plays guitar with Neville Staple, and he had a band called Flipron, and a keyboard player called Joe Atkinson, who also plays with Neville Staple and was also in Flipron, and a really cool girl singer who's doing a few tracks with us called Emily Breeze from Bristol. I really like her voice things, and we're being joined by the the comedian Kevin Eldon, who's a mate of mine. So he's coming up to do a couple of tracks as
We're
well.
having a few comedians on this because
Are you?
that's just for variety. Yeah, different people, entertainers, different kind of thing.
Yeah.
Funny people, aren't they, comedians?
No, they're not.
No, I mean they're strange people. I mean, funny, strange.
Well, they don't really crack jokes.
No.
It's like I've been out with Stuart Lee a couple of times, and he's great company, very entertaining. But mind you, even in his show, he doesn't crack jokes. So it's But you find people that have got good things. But Stuart's an absolute encyclopedia for music. Really is. I mean, the most obscure jazz, psychedelic 60s. But they tend not to be funny.
Yeah. Oh, out of the off the stage, yeah, they tend to be. They're quite depressed. Some comedians, aren't they?
Some of them.
It's a strange thing.
I was talking to Stuart about his act, because he doesn't tell jokes. He does, he's being him. And he said that being on stage is the only time he genuinely feels at home.
Yeah.
He said that's where he really belongs, more so than, watching TV at home or any of the normal things that people do.
But it's quite nice. You can do the damn stuff and you've got a massive audience wherever you go, and you can do new stuff like that just to sort of try something different. So it's a nice combination you got.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I mean, I've got another one, a project on 1,000 Motels, which is because I had both of them going before I went back into the Damned. So now we started it, I sort of don't want to leave it high and dry.
Your baby.
Well, kind of. But I'm really into the songs and what we do. So 1,000 Motels, we're just waiting to do another album. But we just had one release, which is getting really well received. But, got paid 175 quid, I think we made out of it on the vinyl release, which is
it's their money.
big money these days in vinyl.
Yeah.
But I got a copy of Eloise and it says for the sale of 250,000. And now you'd be lucky to get 5,000 made.
When it started going that way, a lot of people were saying we've got to stop this, we've got to protect music, but none of it went anywhere because it's just money.
Well, it depends how much you love the band.
I used to like getting the album and looking at the screen and getting inside and reading the notes. I used to like all that, but I guess that's a thing of the past now, really.
Well, the CD killed all of that, didn't it?
Yeah, and you still had the cover, but it wasn't the same, was it?
Too small. You couldn't roll a joint on a CD.
Well, you could, a small joint, probably.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, things change. You can't get away from it. Things change, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's even worse with digital. With the last Damned album, the Not Like Everybody Else record, we did really well, and we went quite high in the vinyl charts. I said, "Oh, it's great, And he said, "Well, yeah, but tomorrow all the digital download stuff comes out, and they put it all in the same chart."
Yeah.
So the best of, I don't know, ABBA will always outsell everything. So, of course, you're knocked back down to the bottom.
So is there going to be another Damned album coming up?
Maybe. We're all very creative. We're all writing and doing things. So maybe we'll, find ourselves locked in a room.
I think it's important to get a bit of that going, because if you keep going doing tours and you don't produce any more music, it's a little bit like you're in a dead end, aren't you? You need to produce something. Doesn't have to be very often, but just something.
No, you're absolutely right. It's not.
Or just singles, maybe, if you want to do a whole album.
Well, it's why you're doing it. I'd like to make another record because I think the Damned should, and I'd like to make another record with them. And that's, if I was just doing it for the money, I wouldn't bother. Because it's a lot of time, effort, energy.
Yeah, it'd be too much trouble to bother. Yeah.
And you have to sell it. I mean, the last record, when you do sort of half a dozen in-stores every day, and when you've signed your name for the 1,000th time, the fun wears off. And there is a proper sort of graft thing that goes with it that the public don't usually see, apart from the interviews you do. But you have to do a lot of those to be noticed, or for anybody to see what's going. The more there is, the bigger it becomes. But it's not an easy ride because it's not just sitting up there for 90 minutes and playing. It's not just strumming a guitar and putting a few chords together. It's everything else.
But you could argue if you're going to go around the world touring, you might as well sell something while you're going.
Oh, it'd be, commercial suicide not to. That's
Yeah.
And you want people to hear what you do. You want people to say, I like your song. I like what you've written. I like the word.
Probably always got to do with the old songs, with the big hits, but you just shove a bit of new stuff in there. Everyone will be okay with that, I think.
Well, easier said than done.
Because some bands go out and they only play the new stuff and won't play the old stuff, and that really upsets people because they pay all the money just to hear the old stuff. And
But when you've got 50 years worth of material, it's difficult to know whether you should be doing, Nasty because it was on the young ones. Or not, should you be doing that? Because it does have a big profile. It was never released as a record, but it's been on YouTube and all those other things for all of those years.
Well, in a social media age, you can ask your audience.
Well,
and let them vote then.
Well, I suppose so, yeah. God help us.
Well, that's an easy one. What would you like to play on the next tour? Right down there. But the trouble is, I did that once for something, and instead of saying this song or that song, they wrote reams and reams, like 3 sides of A4. I thought about that one, but then I thought that, I thought, oh God, you have to write your whole life story. Just one name would have done.
Oh,
so be aware of that one.
That's a big part of it. No, you don't ask them. I think it's more important that you play the ones that you can play best, really.
Well, there's that, yeah.
It's kind of the fault problem the Damned have got because we never had that many hits. We did kind of okay, but we didn't have a lot of global hits and stuff. Whereas the Clash and the Pistols were always everywhere, And because of that, when we go on, a lot of the audience don't really know that many of the songs.
Actually, I did a thing on my social media. What's your favourite Clash song? I think I said that. And I was really surprised when the results came in. Because in the top, I want to say top 10, Should I Stay or Should I Go, London Calling, Like the Casbah, and what's that one you always hear? They weren't in there at all.
No.
Way down in like number 20 or something. Well, I mean, they're in the list, but so that was interesting to me. I thought that surprised me because the radio stations tend to play the same 1 or 2 songs of every band, and they never bloody play anything else, which is always just made me feel like you're a bit dumbed down with that.
Yeah.
So obviously people listen to what they want and they've got opinions.
I find younger members of the audience now, a lot of them are discovering us because they'll listen to like Offspring or Green Day, and then you come up as a recommendation.
Yeah.
If you like these, then you may also like this.
On Spotify and all that, yeah.
So, well, we've picked quite a few punters up from that, which I suppose is some sort of testimony to what we did. Take something like New Rose. I mean, that still sounds all right now.
Oh, you've got to keep that in, yeah.
It doesn't sound very punk anymore because it's been superseded by a lot of other punk records, but it stands up as a record in its own right. And I think for something that was disposable to have survived 50 years and will almost certainly survive another 50.
You never know what they're going to pick up on, do you?
No.
On an album.
But I think it's, there's a sort of certain...
Like, I remember I was signed with Chrysalis for a while when I was with Billy Idol and what they're called, Mid-Years Band. Ultravox. They had an album and they took what they thought was the best song on the album, put it as a single, flopped. So they took another one out, thought that's the next best one, put it out and it flopped. So someone said, I know it's a crazy idea, let's put this Vienna out. It's a ballad, but yes, just for a laugh, let's try it. And tried it and went wash and sold tons. So you just never know, do you?
If we did, we'd all be massively successful.
Yeah, like in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Well, this has been interesting. I think we're going to all be watching you and see what happens next with you and the Pistols, seeing what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, I'm in terms of the band, it'd be nice if we can work together on a new album. It'd be nice. It's going to be a lot of fun doing the tour because we kind of got the hang of it now. So,
yeah, it gets to the point where the songs play themselves, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the people you're with know kind of what you need to get the job done, and all of that. So it's not miserable experience. So I'm looking forward to it. And they're quite funny, they're damned, you know, they've all got a good sense of humour. So we do have quite
Well,
a laugh.
you need characters, don't you? Well, are you playing London?
Yeah, we're doing Olympia
Oh, right.
and Watford Coliseum, I believe. But yeah, it's I'm just really grateful to still be there,
Yeah.
still be doing and still being able to.
Lovely. Well, I wish you well with your coming
Right,
tour,
Terry.
your coming records, and everything else. So, thanks very
Go
much
and
for
get me
coming in.
bus.
It's been an absolute pleasure. You can now buy a copy of my autobiography, The Strange Case of Dr. Terry and Mr. Chimes. It's £12 for a signed copy, plus postage. If you want one, you just go to terrychimes.com.
All the art that makes up the set, or RockandRoll Confessions, is made by me, Mark Illuminati. Check out all my work at www.illuminatineon.com. The link to contact me is in the description. All the art is for sale, and I hope you like it. It's got a nice punky feel to it, and I've pretty much covered all our favourite bands. Enjoy.